A Nigerian man in South Africa had always given accounts of how he's living in South Africa. This guy is actually into car revamp. And the funny thing is how South Africans have not spoken about this man. He's very popular in Durban. He said he was living in Joburg and had to move back to Durban. That he mentioned that people who live in Durban are not the wealthy ones, that the wealthy people living in Durban are not many. But if you want to talk about wealth, you should be talking about Joburg, that people living in Durban is for the poor people. And some people have come out to lash to say no, Durban is not for the poor, that they live in Durban and Durban is for the rich. And now, the one thing about South Africans that baffles me is that when somebody is giving a census, a census is usually, if now, for example, they say there are people living in Durban who are there are people in Durban who are how will I explain it? Who are rich. Let's say 5% are rich. If 5% are rich, you automatically understand why they are saying that the people in Durban are not rich, because in the percentage of rich people in Joburg are more than in Durban. So if they say the Joburg people are richer and it calls Durban for the poor, meaning that the average people can also live in Durban. And he also showed how he does car revamp. He talked about if anybody wants to revamp their cars, maybe the roof of your car is falling off and all of that, the padding on the roof of your car is falling off, he's always available to fix that. And I noticed that most South Africans who like the truth on TikTok also follow him and they like him a lot. One of them dropped a comment and said that nothing on earth will make her, I don't know if it's a he or a her, dislike him, that the guy is always spitting fact. Now the same guy was the one that talked about how no matter what you do for a South African person, they will still tell you to go back to your country. He said, see, telling people to go back to your country is one thing. He said, if they go back to the country, would South Africa be the same again? No. He said, because your people, they don't have work. They don't like to work. So even if they go back to their country, their business cannot be like him. Now he does car revamp. How many South Africans have gone to him to say we want to learn car revamp? So now a lot of times South Africans push this narrative that, oh, Nigerians come here and bring powder, illicit powder, and give these children. But the thing is, they forget to take responsibility that if you train your child well, your child will not allow a total stranger give him or her illicit powder. Now, my question is, if Nigerians are the ones that bring illicit powder to give your children, and it is you, the South Africans, that get your children pregnant, make it make sense. Who is the person putting your children more at risk? Okay, will you now, excommunicate all the South Africans who are into this powder business? Just a few days ago, a South African was caught with serious amount of powder. Will that kind of rich man say it's a Nigerian that gave him the powder? No. Any Nigerian in South Africa you see doing this business is an agent of these big men, the big lords in your country. So when you want to talk, saying Nigerians are doing, you never talk about the good things Nigerians are doing to your country. You never talk about the good teachers, Nigerian teachers who teach in your schools. You never talk about, and every school where there's a Nigerian teacher, check the grades of those children. They come out tops. Even though, like somebody had dropped on TikTok and said that when he was schooling in Ghana, the people who do bets, first, second, third, fourth, are always from Nigeria before any other African country will even come. So Nigerians, we know our onions. We know that God has created us to know book. The only problem Nigeria have is government. If our government can do the right thing, I tell you for free, nobody will want to relocate. The reason why most people will relocate now, let me tell you something about even this relocation people are talking about. If you are not rich, you can't relocate. Do you know what it means for you to have 30,000 pounds? Do you know, in that 30,000 pounds, you are using it to pay fees, and then your living expense is in that money. So it is not poor people that relocate. I want you to understand. So if Nigerians are relocating in their numbers, it means Nigerians are rich. Now, a person who is traveling to America is expected to come with $50,000, and he's able to carve that out from sales of property You, the ordinary South African, apart from the white, do you have that kind of property to sell that will give you such amount of money? You don't have. So when you people are talking about Nigerians in South Africa, bring out the good things they are also doing. The doctors who are non-South Africans who are helping your people. The nurses. How many South Africans are doctors? How many South Africans are nurses? How many South Africans are in the tech world? I want to know. Now someone will come and say, oh, Elon Musk. Oh, so it's only Elon Musk people have. Let us begin by talking about the younger generation. We'll talk about OP, a digital platform, or let's say a digital bank. Let's talk about Fair Money. Even though they are not paying me to do this, it's like a form of an advertisement. Fair Money. Let's talk about that. Owned by Nigerians. Let's talk about Money Point. Owned by Nigerians. Let's talk about PAMPay. Owned by Nigerians. So what is that thing you people want to really tell me that you have? Your own is physical store, like when you brought in. And the thing is, when you brought in ShopRite, it wasn't like you people own ShopRite totally. And that is why when the Nigerian government began to put things in place, and some Nigerians bought over ShopRite, the total shares here, because then it was, I think, 60-40. So when they were saying, oh, they are not going to do business again, that the government policies is no longer favoring them, they began to sell out. They sold out most of their shares and most of their partnerships, and they left. So all these things, well, somebody say, hey, when South Africa has 1,000 companies in Nigeria, I'm wondering, is it in the dream or the one you are planning to have? So as far as I'm concerned, if you people keep telling lies, I'll keep coming out here with the truth to debunk your lies. I'll keep coming here with the truth to debunk your lies. South African, the Nigerian in South Africa also said that the reason why South Africans do not travel is because they don't have money. He said, Shebi is who have money that will travel. He said that that they will even travel from like Nigeria to that place, do they know how much you spend on airfare alone? And the guy said, apart from the airfare, that a lot of some South Africans have money. They travel the world. Some are in, it's mentioned, some are in Nigeria, some are in Europe. They travel and come back. And those ones can never reason the way the ones that never travel reason. That those ones, their own is, they are based their mind on just, on, that's the things that don't, cut out. Those are the things they base their mind on. They tell lies, they fabricate issues, that's in so many things. They concoct issues, they just try to push different narratives. Just yesterday, I saw a video that a lady did in late December. A South African woman, she was looking for help to come back to South Africa. She had lived in Dubai for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And she got sacked from her job. She didn't get any job to do. She became homeless. These are the same South Africans that will say, oh, South Africa is the best. We don't need to travel because our government gives us everything. If this lady had everything, would she be stranded in UAE? Would she be stranded in UAE? She wouldn't be. But she was stranded. And they told her she smuggled her children out of UAE. And she alone was remaining there. Because she's the one that was owing the debt. She was owing them, or she's owing their bank. And until she finished paying that money, she cannot leave. So people now began to rally around to see how they could help her. And when I uploaded that video, or when we saw that video, people began to say, oh, she has now been reunited with her family. So in all of what we are saying is that this Nigeria is better than South Africa, South Africa is better, is not what we should be looking at. The big picture here is, how can Africa come together? Even though South Africans have said they cannot come together, no problem. Live in your apartheid. Let the white continue to colonize you there. It don't concern us. It's better for you to even then remove it. And the funny thing is, without Africa, you are nothing. You don't even have a name of your own. You had to use South and Africa. Remember that South Africa is a region. Just like we have West Africa and Central Africa. Imagine another country coming to bear Central Africa or bearing West Africa. Meanwhile, you people should go and look for a name. You are really, really suffering from identity crisis. You are suffering from identity problems. Go and look for a name. for your country before you talk to Nigeria, because una no reach on a regular.